Welcome to Cake on Tuesday, where we spotlight the rule breakers, the underdogs who refuse to listen when everyone said it won't work. I'm Elizabeth Bieniek, and for the next 20 minutes, we're diving into another disruptive innovation story that proves sometimes the craziest ideas change everything. Welcome to this solo episode I'm affectionately calling a crazy little thing called love. Around the world this week, many of us are celebrating Valentine's Day. Also, public service announcement, if you have not yet gotten something to show your significant other how much you care, you still have time. PSA over. But you want to know, what does love have to do with business? I'm so glad you asked that question. This past holiday season, you may have noticed, like I did, an explosion of holiday romance movies. I think Hallmark owns the market on this, but any of the streaming platforms, Prime, Netflix, there were a ton of them. And I decided this year to see what that was all about. So before I explain my delve into that journey, I need to explain two things about myself that you might not know. First of all, I am not really a romance person. My friend Megady in college used to joke that the way to my heart was if a man was going to buy me something, he shouldn't buy me a big rock, he should buy me a kayak, because that's useful. It's something you can do with it. You can't paddle a diamond ring down a stream. And we were joking, but there's some truth and relevance to that. I have to admit, I have never seen The Notebook. I think it's like the top romance movie in the world. All I know about it is there's two wet people kissing, because that's what's on the cover. I don't know if they were caught in a rainstorm, if they were stranded at sea and had to swim to safety through shark-infested waters. I don't know. If I had to be stranded on an island and I only got to pick a couple movies, it would probably be Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Bourne trilogy, and Snatch, because those are pretty much the best movies on the planet. Romance movies, not so much my jam. The second thing you should know about me is I like to nerd out on how things work. Now, not mechanical or electronic. I married my live-in Mr. Fix-It. He handles those for me. I'm covered. I am more fascinated with people systems, organizations, societal ecosystems. I could dig into those all day, every day. I like to know how they work, the underlying motivations behind things, understanding those levers, how to make it more efficient. And specifically, efficiency has always fascinated me, and the concept of time. The fact that if you think about time, we all have 24 hours in a day. It doesn't matter what advantages or disadvantages you may have had in life. You have 24 hours just like everyone else. Time is the great leveler. And I've always been fascinated with how to use time more efficiently. A story about how my nerdy brain works here is when I was younger, this was in the BK era, before I had children, before kids, I had blocked a weekend of time. My husband was traveling, can't remember why, but these are the kinds of crazy shenanigans I get up to if I'm left alone. I was going to have a whole weekend home alone. So I scheduled out my week from when I left work on Friday night, through Saturday, through Sunday, all the way to Sunday night. If I scheduled my time in 15-minute increments, how much could I actually get done? And I was curious because I had this huge, unrealistic list of things I wanted to do in a weekend. I'm like, but if I apply fanatical scheduling, can I create fanatical productivity? And the moral of that story is yes, you can. But I digress. That's not the point of today. But I said I was going to take the scenic route here. I wanted to decide what the fuss was all about, these holiday movies. So there's a bazillion of these movies. They all sound basically the same, too. There's a very British Christmas, a very English Christmas, a very Scottish Christmas, a Vermont Christmas, a California Christmas, a Tennessee Christmas, a cowboy Christmas, or a carpenter Christmas, Christmas under the Northern Lights. I mean, you kind of get the idea. There's a theme. But now that you know a little bit about me, I wanted to say, what's the big fuss about holiday romance movies, but looking at it from a perspective of a cultural phenomenon. There's a ton of these produced every year, and I wanted to see what it was all about. So this holiday season, I didn't watch one movie. I watched 10 of them. And I charted their story arcs and I timed them. I mean, God made me this certain kind of weird, and I'm just going to lean into it. But on the efficiency scale, first of all, these movies get a 10 out of 10. They do not waste time. Pretty much in the first 3 to 5 minutes, bam, you got the backstory for 2 main characters, the tease up the problem. You have an idea where you're going in the story. Now, I will concede that they take some serious shortcuts. There are some one-dimensional characters. There's usually always a friendly old neighbor or relative who's giving wildly illogical advice. There are some pretty far-fetched reasons for why 2 strangers need to suddenly work side by side every day for a looming deadline at the busiest time of the year. There's all these things built in there. By the way, I have to read this to you. I put this into AI because I wanted to say, what is the typical plot structure of a holiday romance movie? And this is according to Brave AI. It's fantastic because it's so spot on. A protagonist, often a woman, frequently a career-driven or emotionally guarded individual, is thrust into a holiday setting, such as a small town, a family event, or a festive workplace. They meet a romantic interest, often someone from a different background, e.g. a city professional put together with a small-town resident, or a widower with children. There's an initial conflict that arises from differences in lifestyle, values, or circumstances. As they work together, whether saving a Christmas event, managing a business, or simply spending time together, their connection deepens, often fueled by holiday traditions. The climax typically involves a decision to commit to love, often symbolized by a gesture tied to Christmas. And the ending shows the couple together, often in a festive, family-oriented scene, reinforcing the idea that romance is the start of a lifelong journey. And then it jokes, there's common tropes of a fake relationship turned real, or a businesswoman goes country, or a man goes city. There's a holiday-specific challenge, like we're going to save a Christmas tree lot, or run a bed and breakfast, or organize a wedding, a reunion of exes, or second chances during the holidays. It goes on and on. And I read this, and it kind of made me chuckle after having watched 10 of these things, because, hey, AI nailed it. So on the time efficiency scale, these things plow right through that plot. It's very formulaic. You can map it. But it was interesting too because they all wrap up really, really fast. So if there were times there was like 3 minutes left, 3 minutes left to the end of like, Netflix is going to end this one and start the new one. And then at the 3 minute mark, boom, you have this quick resolution. There's a kiss. There's a promise of undying love. Roll the credits and then cue the next movie. And it just boom, 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 goes right into the elbow. So I did say I would bring this back to business. I do have a point. One point is that this is a business. Hallmark alone makes a third of its annual ad revenue just from Christmas movies. We're talking $600 million in advertising during holiday programming. So there's money to be had in the space. During these movies too, the ROI is phenomenal because most of the movies are produced for less than $2 million. And that's because there's nothing blowing up. There's no stunt person. There's no alien spaceships. So the ROI is really incredible on this. But what I'm really interested about and want to talk about today, I said I would eventually get to a point, is remember I said I was interested in people systems, social ecosystems, underlying motivations. What's really interesting is why these movies are so popular. And I think that all comes down to the feeling that you get at the end of them. You walk away with a feeling of hope. The movies are about love, but it's the trifecta of love, joy, and hope. And this is something I think we are missing in the business world today. Because the motivations that drive somebody to want to watch a holiday movie are the same motivations that drive that person. They don't change when they walk in the office door. So there are 4, again, I plotted this out, had to chart it out. There are 4 main themes where I saw hope coming through in these stories. The first hope was around if you feel stuck. And if you feel stuck, that hope is everything can change in an instant. The second one was around if you feel awkward, unseen, powerless, underutilized. The second hope was what makes you weirdly unique is valuable and valuable to the world. And this is one, by the way, I'm going to lead into because I'm my own special kind of weird and y'all keep listening to me week after week. So let's keep hope alive. The third hope there was all around this. If you're feeling disconnected or alone, all of these movies had community. So the Hope 3 there was around a place where you belong. And that really ties into that fourth hope of, and that community all came together to do something meaningful. So if you have a desire to have a place where you belong, also being part of a community, you're now part of something bigger that has a purpose and a purpose bigger than yourself. And I think these four hopes, if you start thinking about peeling away the story and any, willing suspension of disbelief you might have in some of these stories, and start looking at the underlying motivations, they are incredibly universal. Hallmark knows this. I mean, it's a $600 million business for them. They get it. Your customers, your employees, they know this. These are underlying universal human motivations. And if you're trying to pretend that these don't impact your business, you're wrong. Because it doesn't matter if you are training AI, you're selling vacuum cleaners, you're baking muffins, all businesses are based on people, and people don't thrive without love, joy, and hope. This is a theme I want to continue to unpack in future episodes of Cake on Tuesday, the hidden motivators behind what make businesses successful and what makes them fail. This is why I go behind the scenes with top industry disruptors that are doing new things or driving change and understanding what really moves the needle. So this Valentine season, join me in keeping hope alive. Please share a little love. And of course, as always, have some cake. Thanks for joining another Cake on Tuesday celebration of beautiful disruption. Please share it, review it, and find more innovative stories at podcast.cakeontuesday.com. I'm Elizabeth Bieniek. Be bold, stay curious. Now go have some cake.